And I want to encourage each and every one of you that are online to continue to watch the program. And if you have any something good that is happening to you and you've been blessed by the broadcast, then type us your feedback, because we want to know what's going on. This morning I want to talk to you about motivation. Say with me, motivation. Motivation. All right. Anyone may have an idea what motivation is? Anybody? Motivation. What's motivation? What is it? Is your mother streaming? Okay. Anybody? Motivation. Say with me, it's the engine that pushes you to drive.
The engine that pushes you to drive.
Let's define motivation. Motivation is the act or process of giving someone a reason for doing something. A force or influence that causes someone to do something. I woke up one morning thinking about what makes me tick, right? And I started just meditating on that. What is it that causes me to do what I do? And at the same time, I began to wonder what causes other people to do what they do. If I ask this young man over here, what causes you to get up in the morning and do what you do every day? What would you say?
I go to school. I like science.
Uh-huh.
I like science a lot.
He likes science a lot, and so since he's going to school, he looks forward to be in the classroom and hear about science. But I'm sure that there's got to be more than that. If I ask you, go ahead.
Well, I'm trying to get into a good college, and I need money. So that's that. I gotta do really well to get a scholarship.
All right, so he's thinking already about college, so he's thinking I need a lot of money. So so what motivates you when you begin to think about the fact that you have to go to college?
I realize that me and my family don't have a lot of money, and I want to do better because none of my, like, I don't know any family that's actually gone to college except for me who's planning to. So
Good. All right, so there's something in there that you really want to make it happen.
Yeah.
You really want to make it happen, and that's great. That's great, and that's the force or influence that is causing you to do what you're doing. Right. Very good. Okay. Anybody else? Little Derek. When you get up in the morning, why do you get up in the morning? There's some people that don't want to. There's some people that they don't want to get up in the morning. Right? Let me ask us the following: who got up this morning, Sunday morning, real happy and with a lot of energy, saying, "I'm going to church. I'm going to, Come on, how many? You know what I said to Iris this morning when I was in bed? I was just about to get off the bed. I said, "Listen, why is it that every Sunday morning, it's like there is a heaviness?" Because during the week, it's not like that. We wake up and before 9 o'clock, and we wake up, and then, we get up, we do what we do, and that's it. Sunday morning, that doesn't happen. There is like a heaviness that you feel like, you have to make an extra effort for you to get up. I don't know if I'm the only one that goes through something like this, but anybody can relate to that?
Yes.
I mean, on Monday morning you get up, you go to work, you go to school, you do what you do, but then on Sunday morning, it's like you have to drag your body, get him out of the bed to do what you got to do in order for you to show up in church. Is that right, Josiah? Does that happen to you? It does? You have more difficulty getting up on Sunday than getting up on Monday? Monday you up bright and early? Yes? No? Yeah, problem with that. But you see, motivation is the act or process of giving someone a reason for doing something. And that's very, very important because, just think about it for a moment. What causes you to do what you do? You can be 20, you can be 15, you can be 40, you can be 50, you can be my age, more than 60. And what causes you to really to do what you do? I realize that in my life, I enjoy to help people. I like to when I meet a new friend or someone that I begin to relate to, and if the person gives me the opportunity, I try to talk to that person and begin to work with that person and see how I can get the best out of that person. And if that person gives me the opportunity to be a friend or to come to church, what I love to do is to find out what is in that person, what God has put in that person, what's the purpose, what are the gifts that this person has, what are the talents, what are the abilities, so that person can actually begin to work on that, begin to produce that, and then utilize that to accomplish his purpose in life. That's what I'm called to do. And this is the reason why now the title of this program is Mentoring Winners. Because I believe that God wants us to be winners in life. Nobody wants to be a loser, right? Anybody here is a loser?
No.
Nobody, right? You want to believe that you are what?
Winner.
Say it with me. I'm a winner.
I'm a winner.
See, just by saying that, it causes something inside of you. You know that you're going to make it. You know that you're going to win. And in life, we got to have this type of disposition. We have to know that we are brought by God into this planet with a purpose, to accomplish something, to do something with our lives. You see, you are perfectly designed by God for you to carry out an assignment in your lifetime. And that assignment is in the framework of what God has to do, or he wants to do with your generation. And so God has given you everything that you need, every tool, every talent, every gift, every ability, and the right motivation. He has placed things in you that sometimes you don't know. And so motivation can be conscious. Say with me, motivation can be conscious or unconscious. There are things that we're aware of, that we are motivated for. But there are other things we don't know. And those things that you don't know is, I believe, the success that we need to have in order for us to carry out our assignment in life. Because we're gonna go through challenges, we're gonna go through battles, we're gonna go through adversity. And sometimes when we're in the midst of that, we don't know what to do. And we miss, in the middle of that, we miss sometimes how to motivate ourselves to get over that hurdle or that hump, per se, in life. And so, the more we know about motivation, the better we are, because we know how to respond. Now, a lot of people don't know how to respond. Why? Why not? When they're in the midst of, have you seen how people collapse in the middle of a problem, in the middle of a crisis? Why do they collapse? Why do they collapse? Sometimes they don't know what to do. They don't know that God has placed inside of them how they say for something to. Well, it's like you are wired inside of you in a certain way. And God has all of that built in already. It's like when you buy a product, an electronic product, and has a lot of things built in. right? Like a car nowadays. They build in the cars in such a way that they say that the car can drive itself, right? It has all this inside mechanism in it, and all you need to do is push a button or do this or do that, and a lot of things get activated. That's the same way you are and I am. God designed us in such a way that we can, whenever there's crisis, whenever there's obstacle, whenever there's a resistance, wherever there is adversity, God has designed in such a way that we can actually respond and overcome all of that, because God wants you to be a winner. So we be, I'm a winner. God wants you to overcome every obstacle so you can succeed in life, so you can obtain and do and accomplish your assignment with success. And so there's things that you're aware of and there's things you're not aware of. And it's good that we can major in finding out what are those things that I'm not aware of when I'm in the middle of a problem, so I can really know what my motivation is. Because if you give in, for instance, you get up one day and say, oh, I don't feel like doing anything. So what's going to happen?
Nothing.
You're going to do nothing. You're going through a difficulty in your job. Somebody's giving you a hard time. And he's giving you a hard time day in, day out. So you feel like what? You don't want to go to work. You want to give up. You want to say, forget about it. If this is what it takes, might as well forget about it. Look for another job. See, we are motivated by something. And so we need to know that motivation is very important, because at one point or another, depending on how you interpret that, you're going to react. So there is conscious motivation. For instance, anybody, conscious motivation, something that you know, and then that you do. Anybody has an idea about what a conscious motivation? Go ahead.
I'm hungry.
There you go. You are hungry. That's a conscious motivation. The body is hungry. So what do? Let's go to McDonald's. Let's go to, pizzeria, whatever. But you see, you hunger, and then you go, and you know that you got to look for food. That's a conscious motivation. Another one?
Tired.
You're tired, and then and then what happens? You look for a bed. You look for a nice, cozy place for you to what? To go to sleep, right? Another one. Hey, see, beginning to.
I don't want to stink. So I look at that.
She don't want to smell, so she takes a bath. She's looking for the bath. All right. Anybody else? Come on, give me every day. An everyday thing that happens.
I want to buy things.
You want what?
I want to buy things.
No, you want to have things.
I want to spend money.
Oh, you want to go shopping. See, that's something. That's a very high motivation for ladies. Ladies are always what?
Shopping.
Looking for ways to shop, right? So where is the mall? You know, where is the mall? So those are conscious motivations that we have, but there are some unconscious motivations we don't know. All right, motivation is the purpose or psychological cause of an action. Something that I do, something that's motivating, something that pushes me to do something. Now, all achievements begins with desire. Now, that's important because you see, we're talking about motivation. Yes? Yes? And everything that we achieve in life, everything that we intend to do, everything that we purpose ourselves to do, begins with what? Desire. Just think for a moment. You want to have a family? What do? You look for somebody, to start a family with. Everything in life. You want to go and go to college, become a scientist, right? And so you got to have that desire in you. And what we need to understand is that God has placed in each and every one of us precisely the desire that we need to have in order for us to accomplish our assignment in life. Every one of us. God doesn't just place you here with no desire to do anything. God has already preordained and prearranged things in your life. It's just like, the inventor, right? He sat down one day and he says, I'm going to invent the vacuum cleaner. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to invent this item, and they're going to make for people to vacuum the houses and do this. And so he put everything in there for the vacuum cleaner to what? to vacuum. God is the same way. You think that in an inventor, the God is less than an inventor? The God is not going to do the same thing? When He placed you here, God has already placed in you what? Desires. And that desire is for you to accomplish that which He has already wired you to be, for that person to be. So you can be a blessing to people, so you can, be the person that He ordained for you to be. So all achievement with desire. So that desire in you, whoever you are, for what you are in, where you lean to something, do something, that's because God has already purposed that inside of you. He already gave you that motivation for you to look after. I remember that, I just, for whatever reason, I like to play soccer. And I started playing when I was 5 years old. I was already with a soccer ball in my feet. And I loved the sport until I became one of the best players in my country. At the age of 18, I was a member of a national team. And so I enjoyed, I really, it was such a great fulfillment for me to play soccer. All achievement begin with desire. When desire now is submitted to the plan and purpose of God, He will ignite and inspire you. See, and that's what we need to learn. What we need to learn is that sometimes we don't know what is motivating us, and because we don't know what is motivating us, then we dedicate ourselves to do something else. Let me give you a little bit of a part of a story of my life. I remember when I came to this country, I was about 21 years old, and I left in an abrupt manner. God had come into my life in Nicaragua, where I was born, came into my life, interrupted my life in such a way that He placed in me a desire to leave my country. Now, it's knowing a little bit about my country, the second poorest nation in the Western Hemisphere. It will be crazy for anybody or a young person like me to think that I'm just going to go to the United States. I mean, it'll be just delusional. Somebody will be delusional to think that you can just do something like that. Well, God placed that desire in my heart, and I remember one day, and make story short, He worked everything out for me to come to the United States. In one day, all my life was gone. My family was gone. My mother, my father, my brothers, my sisters, my friends. I had a lot of friends. My schooling, my friends from school, from college, my sport that I loved, soccer. Everybody in my life was gone. So I remember walking the streets of Brooklyn, and I just didn't know what was going on in my life. And because I didn't know what was going on in my life, I was, in those days, like maybe 2 to 3 years, had walked away from God because of my activities in playing sports, college, and all that. And I didn't have much time to go to church. So I was dislocated from my vocation to serve God. So during those days, while I was walking in Brooklyn, I remember that I felt lonely. I wanted to talk to a friend. I didn't have a friend. I couldn't relate to anybody here because I didn't have friends. I didn't know anybody. But that's like maybe like a month, 2 months after I already been here. I had maybe one person that I could call friend, but not really. And so I didn't know what to do. I was empty inside. There was a lot of stuff going on inside of me. I didn't know what to do. It was such a state of emotion that I just didn't know what to do. And so what I did, I went and I went into a place and it was the wrong place because it was like a bar. I remember it was like a bar that was in this corner, and I went in and I didn't know what I was doing, but I asked and decided to ask for a drink. And so during that time I was lost, and my only way of supplying what was going on inside of me, it was by going to a place that I didn't know, and a place I didn't have the answer, but it was a place that at that moment I didn't know what else to do, and then I did that. And I started to drink because I didn't know what else to do. And that's precisely the point that I want to make to you this morning. You see, because we don't understand what's motivating our life at that moment, because we don't know what our true motivation is, then we are going to look for an avenue to supply that which we think we need. And so, of course, it was the wrong place to go. It was the wrong thing to do. But that's what happens to many people today. Many people, when they go through trouble, when they don't know what to do, when they feel that nobody cares for them, or they don't have a good relationship, or a good relationship goes bad and things like that, people begin to use drugs. When they feel despair, people begin to use all kinds of things. And they drink, they go to drugs, some people steal, some people get violent, some people, do crazy stuff. Some people even kill themselves. Yes? They think that that's perhaps the only way of what? Of finding an answer for what's going on with them. And see, all of that is because we don't know that there is a motivation inside of us, but we don't know how to respond to it. Now, when we're hungry, what happens? We know that we gotta eat. When we are thirsty, what happens? We know that we gotta drink water, right? But when we're in trouble, when we're during those times that we don't know what's going on with our lives, if we don't know why is the reason that we feel the way we feel, then we're gonna do crazy stuff. Yes? This is why it's important to understand what's going on with your life. What's going on with your motivation inside of you? What is motivating you? What's going on inside of you? And so, let's go into this a little bit. Now, when desire is submitted to the plan and purpose of God, He will ignite and inspire, directing us to accomplish the thing that He Himself has placed in us. So, now there are areas where motivation plays a significant role. Let me give you a few of them. I'm not going to get into the many areas that we have where motivation plays a significant role, but I just want to get you to get the idea of what I'm talking about. For instance, self. You as an individual, you have a motivation for what? Say it with me. Acceptance. See, God placed that in you. You want to feel like what? That you're accepted, right? You walk into your classroom, you want to feel like, what do you want to feel? That people like you and that you're welcome. Yes? You come into a house, you want to feel like what? Welcome. So people have the need, right? The need to what? To be accepted. Yes? That's the self-motivation. Then also, we have a need for education. What does that mean? The need for what? Say with me, the need to learn. Don't you feel like you need to learn something? We have a need. We have motivation, right? God has placed that in you, that you need to learn, that you need to be educated. That's the motivation you have. Areas of motivation. See, motivation plays a significant role. Then you have also the need for independence. What is that? What does that mean? What does that mean?
The need for individuality.
The need for individuality. In other words, what that means is that there's a time when you're going to come in your life when you're going to say, you know what? I don't want to live with my parents anymore. Why? Why? You want to make your own thing. You want to make your own decision. You want to, you don't want your parents to be on top of you. You want to do your own thing. See, all of that is placed by God in you. Can you imagine if you 40 years old and you still feel like, your mom and daddy has what? Has to come and feed you? Has to come and, put you to sleep? Sing a song to you to put you to sleep? Read you a book? Would you feel fine that way? Would you feel okay with that? Would you feel okay? Now, no, because see, we all need that independence. We want to be our own. See, that's identity. God places an identity in you. And so motivation plays that role. He gives you that desire for you to be independent. So it's already in you. Now, social contact. What does that mean? There's a need for what?
Relationship.
See, you feel this is going to be a time you get in there. You borderlines guys. You feel like you know what? I like that girl. I like you like to build a what?
Relationship.
A relationship. You want see you're motivated. All of a sudden you feel like that's God placed that in you. The need to what? That you begin to look at the girls in a different way. There's nothing wrong with that. And girls begin to look at boys different ways. That's godly. That's nothing wrong with that. And all of that is to fulfill the need of what? Social contact. You want to have that. That's good to make friends, build relationships, work together, enjoy friends, grow up with them. That's the most wonderful thing in life. When after you're 60 years old, you're still hanging around with people that you grew up with. Isn't that great? And God placed that in you. And the motivation plays a role in it. Now, power. What's that? What's that? The need for influence of will. I'm the man. Don't you feel like that? Like you're in a group of people, and what happens? There's always one that what? That wants to be the top dog. It's always wants to be the leader. Always wants to feel like he's got power. You go to a job, and then you want to let people know that what? I'm in charge. I'm the boss here. Yes? You play a sport, and there's always one that what?
MVP.
The best player. I'm the top guy. I went to see Daniel one day at the school, and they were playing basketball, and there was this kid. He was great. He was running, doing, and putting the ball in the basket easy, and overpowering everybody. So I asked Daniel, how you doing? I said, I saw this guy. Oh, he's a show. What did you say? He's a show off. He says. He said he's a show off. He's ignoring the fact that the kid has what? Talent, ability, more than any one of them. But to him is what? It's a show off. Because the kid was enjoying the fact that he was probably the best. Some power. He's driven by. Say with me, driven by. And that's how, in life we need to be. Motivation is what? The engine. It's the force that what motivate our lives. All right, power. Goal setting. What's that? Success. Most people have a desire to reach what? A particular state. Yes? Everybody wants to succeed. Yes? God placed that in you. The desire to succeed. God placed that in you. God, the Creator. All humans, say with me, all humans, are born with the inner ability to seek their Creator. Whether it's an atheist, somebody who doesn't believe in God, whether it's the worst criminal, could be a terrorist, could be anybody. The reality is that all of us have been created and come from a source. We don't come from the monkeys. Tell the brother next to you, we don't come from the monkeys.
We don't come from the monkeys.
Unless you want to believe that. If you want to believe that, that's fine. But we don't come from the monkeys, do we? Do we? Where do we come from? Where do you come from? No, you don't come from God. You come from your mother. But when we start looking and asking the question, where does your mother come from? We say, well, it comes from my wife. But before you know, we're going to get to one, and that one was Adam and Eve. It wasn't a monkey. It was Adam and Eve. And Adam and Eve were created by what? by God, and they were placed in the Garden of Eden. And the purpose that God created and put them in there is for them to inhabit the earth and to have dominion over the earth and to populate the earth. And there was a purpose. The purpose is, it's a long story. I'm not going to get into it, but this is a story of redemption, that God wants to restore things to the original way when he was when men didn't existed on planet Earth. Okay, so all of these things is, all humans are born with the inner ability to seek for their creator. Now, let me go to this. We need to rediscover then the source of our motivation. We need to work on that, because when we begin to rediscover the word for motivation, we're going to begin to find out how beneficial that is. For instance, we can talk all we want about the different areas of motivation, but I want to talk today about one that really matters. One that really, really matters. And this is for believers like you and me. God should always be the motivating force in our lives. See, most of us here are believers. Yes? Are we?
Yes.
We believe in the Lord Jesus Christ.
Yes.
You see, for us, for believers, I'm not saying for everybody, because the human race, like I said, every one of them has that inner ability to be able to look unto God. But not everyone is there. But for every believer, for all those that are believers, the motivation force that we always have is our relationship with God. In other words, before we say, my parents are number one in my list, or my daughter or my son, it should always be what on top? God. He should be number one in your list. He should be the motivating force in your life. He should always be the motivating force in your life. Let me give you the example of one person that knew where his motivation was. That was David, a worshiper. Now, the purpose you have been always designed will always reveal your motivation. David was by nature a worshiper. And that revealed what? The person that David was created to be. He wrote most of the Psalms. He was a singer. He had tremendous grace from God, tremendous gift for music. See, he was created to be a worshiper. He was also a warrior. But more than anything, David knew that he was a worshiper. He liked to have a relationship with God. And now, there was a time when he wrote this psalm. He says, as the deer pants for the water brooks, so pants my soul for you, O God. See, the deer right there. You can see that the deer, when he gets thirsty, what's the deer is to do? Just like a human being. But David was saying, I am so thirsty. And my thirst, he says, inside. In other words, my soul, he says, my spirit. There's something going on inside of me, and I know what it is. And that's the thing. Sometimes there's something going on inside of us. You don't know what it is, and you go and you fulfill it with the wrong thing. Remember the story I told you by myself? I didn't know what was going on inside of me, and I went and I got the wrong thing. Like, you go for drugs, you go for the wrong entertainment, you go for whatever you can name, whatever you can put in there. It's the wrong thing. That's not what you're supposed to be doing with that. What you're supposed to be doing with that is probably what the deer is doing when he feels thirsty. He should look for water. David said, as the deer pants for the water brooks, so pants my soul for you, O God. Now, he was going through a difficult time. Now listen to this, because this is what I want to talk to you about this morning. He says, my tears have been my food day and night, while they continually say to me, where is your God? He says, my tears have been my food day and night. Now, how many of you have been through a very difficult time and you found yourself in such a situation that you got up in the morning and you're crying because of what happened? Maybe you lost a son, maybe you lost a daughter, maybe you got sick, maybe all of a sudden you were fine, all of a sudden they say that you have 1 week to live. Maybe, you were married, maybe you had a wonderful relationship and you lost it. Maybe there is a fire, you lost your house, you lost your possessions, it doesn't matter what the situation is, but it's going bad. At that moment, at that time when things are going bad, your tears have been what? You've been crying. You've been crying to the extent that, you know, you can't stop it. You don't know what, I mean, you can help yourself. There was a time in David's life when he came back from an activity he was doing. He came back with his men to Ziklag, to the city. When they got to the city was burned by the Amalekites. They would burn the city. They took their son, they took their wife, they took their families, everybody. And the scripture said that David began to cry so much until he had no more strength to cry. His tears were what? Was food day and night. He didn't want to eat. And you're going to, I'm telling you this because you're going to go through this in life, believe me. Maybe you haven't gone through that right now, but eventually you will, because life is like that. It's full of adversity, and we've got to find ourselves, and we're going to learn about who we are and who God is and how God wants us to succeed when we go through something like that. Okay, so he said, my tears have been my food day and night. And then people are asking me, where is your God? Where's your God? And there's going to be a time maybe in your life when you feel like that, you know. People, they know you're a believer, and they say, well, you talk so much about God. Where's your God now that you're in trouble? Where's your God now that you know you're in this situation, this condition? What happens now that you're in this bed? What happens now that you're in this hospital? What happens now that you're unemployed? What happens to you now? And people begin to accuse you. And what are you going to do now? You see, during times of great crisis and need, your motivation will always be revealed. Think about it for a moment. During times of great crisis and need, your motivation will always be what? Revealed. Okay, David had many choices to do when he went to and found the city Ziklag, and his wife weren't there, his kids. You know. At that time, his motivation was revealed. The one that placed the motivation in David was revealed. And what was revealed in David? That he was what? A worshiper. A man that had a relationship with God. A man that loved God and liked to sing to God and write songs to God. And during times of crisis, who you are will be revealed to you. And you need to pay attention. You need to pay attention. If you're a believer, then you need to know that during times of crisis, when you're going through that crisis, your motivation is going to be real, and it's time for you to ask the question, why is this happening to me? And then know that you have to go to the right source in order for you to find out what's going on with your life, instead of running to the wrong source to try to find out, find the answer for what's going on in your life. You getting a little bit of it? 4, he says, I used to go with the multitude. I went with them to the house of God. He began to remember who he was. You see, when you're in trouble, when you go into difficult times, your history will always reveal your motivation. Say with me, my history will always reveal my motivation. In other words, look back in your life and find out what happened when you were in trouble. Find out in your life what happened. What did you do? And you're going to find out that your history will always reveal who was your motivation back then. When you were in trouble, did you went to the source, which is God in your life, or did you go somewhere else? If you went to drugs, you went for drugs, then what you going to do? You're going to go for drugs. If you went for drinking, you're going to go for drinking. If you went for this or for that, you're going to go for that, because your history will reveal what do you do every time that you're going through a crisis. In the case of David, in the case of a believer knows that when he goes through a crisis, he needs to go to what? To the source that created him, because he placed everything in there so he can succeed in life. So my motivation as a believer always has got to be what? My relationship with God. Now, why are you cast down, oh my soul? Why are you disquieted within me? David began to wonder about what was going on with his life. There was something on inside of him. He felt pain. He felt like something was happening. And he said, what is it that's going on inside of me? Well, from the depth of your spirit, God will always reveal He should be the center of your motivation when at a loss in life. There's going to be times in your life when the crisis will come. And then it's going to be something inside of you. You feel like you feel sick inside of you. You're sick inside of you. You don't know what to do. Anybody, you're too young to, you're too small to think that that's going to happen. But you know what? There's going to be a time when that's going to happen, and you need to know what to do. But some of you have experienced some of that already. Come on. Anybody here? When you felt like you were at a loss, anybody?
Yes.
You know, then you say, what's going on inside of me? What's happening? What do I do? What's happening? And that's when you know, oh, this what's going on. You got to remember that God has placed that in you so you can remember who is your source, who is your creator. Whoever you are a winner. You know, you are supposed to make it in life. You are not supposed to lose. You are not supposed to be a loser. You're not supposed to fail. You're not supposed to be defeated. You're supposed to be what? To be in victory. You're supposed to be a winner. You're supposed to accomplish your purpose in life. I'm going to be with you. I'm purposely made you for you to overcome what you're going through. You see, all of that's happening. It's already within you because your motivation is going to do that for you. He says, to conclude, there I will remember you. Feelings of loneliness and abandonment always will reveal the source of your motivation. Anybody have feel lonely at one time? Anybody here at what time will feel like, abandoned? Everybody left you? Nobody cares for you? Anybody? Well, you see, that's your feelings of loneliness and abandonment always will reveal the source of your motivation. God has placed that in you. You know what? So you know that you are his son, you are his daughter, that you created by him, that he's with you, that he's there in you, that you're not alone, that he has a purpose for your life, that even though you're going through this, you're going to make it. You're going to win. It doesn't matter that the doctors say you're going to die. God says, I'm there with you in that bed. I'm there with you. Whatever the situation is, I'm there with you. Because I placed that in you for a time such as this. When you're abandoned, when everything feels like nobody's with me, he's with you. He's there. He says, we're going to make it, son. We're going to make it, daughter. Say it with me this morning. I'm going to make it.
I'm make it.
I'm a winner.
I'm a winner.
What is the conclusion of this brief talk? Well, your Father in heaven is so merciful. He manifests himself in our life and mind. He reminds us during difficult and challenging times that if we look up to him, he will deliver us and set us free of anything holding us back from accomplishing our purpose in life. That's the conclusion of this motivation segment. See, he reminds us during difficult and challenging times that if we look up to him, he will, what? Deliver us. What does that mean? He'll break the chains of whatever it is that wants to hold you back. When you feel like I'm not making it, school is too hard, college is this, I ain't got the money for this. God is saying to you, son, daughter, remember, during this time, I'm going to deliver you. I'm going to set you free. Whatever it is that's holding you back to accomplish my purpose, the purpose that I place in your life, you're going to make it through, son. You're going to make it through, daughter. You're going to make it. And that's how motivation works in your life. That regardless of the situation you're in, you need to find out who the source is. That God has placed that in you in order for you to know that he is your source, and he will get you to the place he designed for you to be. Can you say amen?